Here, hey, today what I'm going to be working on is mocking up that fuel cell. Now I want the fuel cell to set in between this cross member, and then I'm going to scoot this cross member back right here, which has a wiring in it, which I'm hoping, and I think it does. I think it unplugs right here. Yeah, it does. Cool. So I can push that through like that. Hope y'all can see what I'm doing. And then what I want to do is flip this cross member the other way. I want to have this on top so it gives something for that tank to hit. Because I didn't buy a kit, and I'm not 100% sure if this is going to work the way I want it to work. But I got to remove the spare tire cross member, which is no big deal. I'll get under and grind them rivets out, get it out of there. And then I want to grind and remove this cross member. And with the bumper and everything bolted to it, I don't think the frame's going to move. So it shouldn't be that hard to flip it over, put it at the measurements I need, drill me some new holes and put some grade 8 bolts in there. And that should hold my tank just fine. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get started on grinding out these rivets. Then I got to ground out this rivet. And there's one on the bottom. And this wiring, that'll give me a chance to look at it and make sure everything's okay. The biggest thing is I don't want to pinch it. So I'm going to get started. I'll be back with you when I get something done. Guys, I got this one out. A little grinding, punch, and a hammer. Not bad. Then I'll leave me a hole beside the tank that the exhaust guys might go ahead and put me an exhaust hanger in here for the dual exhaust, but I don't know. I don't know how the exhaust guys are going to do it. They normally drill new holes anyway. But now I got to get this one out. This one won't be too bad because I can grind from the up top and then I can hit downward. Then I got to do the bones on the bottom, and this whole thing should be free. And then I can scoot it back. I think it's 7 inches. Mark it, drill it, set my tank in there temporarily. I would like to paint this cross member back black before I put it back in, and go from there. Let's get that one out. Got this cross member out. And it was originally in the truck like so. Now I plan on putting it in the truck like so. That way it gives that gas tank something to hit. I got to finish hammering out my rivets. Then I really don't want to lose this riding. But I think what I'm going to do is, I don't know what I'm going to do because I really don't want to lose this riding. But I'd like to paint this. But I might put it back up underneath the truck like that. I don't know. Y'all give me some opinions and thoughts. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these pop rivets out. And then start taking some measurements. And see what I need to do next. So I didn't record all the grinding and all that other crap. Just because y'all don't need it. It's boring. Y'all don't need to see that. I'm going to go ahead and get the Blazer tank. And what I'm hoping is, when I get the Blazer tank up in here, that spout will go this way or this way in between the wood and the frame. So let me get that Blazer tank under here and we'll jack it up and see what it looks like. Okay guys, installation of this Blazer tank is actually going relatively well. I mean, oh crap, I hope y'all can see that, not just my shadow. Let me stand over here. There's one cross member flipped upside down. The tank fits in that flawlessly. So I'll have to mark it, drill it, and put grade 8 bolts in there. And then I'm hoping, I want that as snug against that as possible. But right now, the reason it's not fitting exactly how I want it to is I'm hitting right there. I'm going to have to take off of a, I'm going to have to curve that somehow and take off of a, need at least take off 3/4 of an inch. so that way it's not rubbing against there, and it clears all this. Maybe just 1/4 of an inch. Crap. So that's what the Blazer tank's going to look like. And then I'm trying to stay out of the sun for y'all and make a shadow. Then all my fuel lines and everything are going to run this way, so I can run them in the frame that way. And then I'll put the vent, tie the vent for the fuel tank up here on one of these, probably this cross member right here. I know y'all can't see much. Right there with a filter on it, a 1/2 inch little filter. But that flipping that one cross member over worked flawlessly. Now, it's granted, I need to measure from a good measuring point and drill me a couple holes square, so the tank will fit in here square. And then my fuel nozzle with the wood in the bed, long as the wood's going to be sitting here, so long as I'm under here, the wood's going to fit perfectly. And then I'll run my fuel nozzle out and around and wherever I want to put it. But I am going to have to do something about that one cross member. I'm either going to have to mark it back here and cut up and give me just a little bit of room, because as long as the tank's tied against this cross member, which I'm probably in the video again, shadow, that's going to work great. That's going to give me about 31 gallons of fuel. I'll go get a tape measure here in a second, and we'll measure from the ground clearance, because it's all the way up in the front. It's not all the way, or it's all the way up in the back. It's not all the way up in the front yet. I can raise it up about 1/4 of an inch. And then my strap should be long enough that I can go from here to there. We'll crawl under there and do all that here in a second, do some primary looks. I might go ahead and drill the holes for the front cross member for the straps. All they are J-bolts. So far I'm liking it. So let me go get a tape measure and we'll measure ground clearance. All right, guys. I don't know how well y'all can see this. The front does need to come up a 1/2 inch or so, which is no big deal. After I cut that brace, I need to mark that brace. The back's exactly where I want it. Like I said, as long as my filler nick is under this bracing for the bed, it's going to be perfect. So my strap's going to run. I didn't realize this tank had that dent in it when I got it, but at least I can use this tank as a markup. So my strap's going to run to here. And then it's going to run. This is going to be kind of hard to do holding the camera, and then it's going to run to this one, which I got plenty of room, it looks like, because the strap's not tied up here. Hold on, let me put this camera down. I'll see. See, guys, I'm gonna have plenty of strap, especially after I get this up. So I'm not worried about that. So that's going to work out great. And like I said, I need to notch this one brace right here. That'll give me a little bit more clearance room. That'll raise up the front of this tank. So that's going to work out great. I'm going to see, I'm only going to have to really notch it on one side to get my clearance. So I hope y'all can see all this. I hope this sun is not in the way of the video. Let's crawl in there and measure. So even with and granted the tank can go up another 1/2 inch, maybe a little bit more than that. Even with the 2-inch drop, I'm gonna have 12 inches of clearance, and that's more than most cars. 2-inch drop, 12 inches from the ground, that's more than enough. This thing ain't going to carry that heavy of a load. I mean, it'll have my Monte Carlo on it one of these days, I hope, but I'm hoping to run a little bit taller tire too, so to fill up the fender well. So it's all going to work out great. It's going to be great. I mean, don't have the right size tires on the front, so that's going to raise up the rear a little bit. But that's going to be more, almost as much as that one right there, which is going to come out. So I'm pretty happy with this. I'm going to mark that cross member, and this will probably be it for today. Y'all don't need to see me cut out that cross member. And like I said, I can come up, I can even bend this down a little bit, the filler neck, but I can come up a good 1/2 inch. So I'm going to take that old filler neck off there, so I'm going to measure that, so I'm going to order some. So guys, this is part 1 of the installing the Blazer tank. Y'all please comment, like, share, please subscribe if you like what I'm doing, and we'll get back to working on this thing as soon as possible. See you next time.